Hello friends, let's continue with the literary devices in part 2. Transferred epithet. It's a literary device that transfers a word's meaning from one thing to another. It can be used to convey complex ideas or feelings. In simple words, we can say the transferred epithet is a word or phrase that is used to describe one thing but is actually applied to another thing. For example, the sleepy town was quiet. Actually, the town is not sleepy, that refers to the residents of the town. The road was boring. Actually, the person who is traveling, he felt bored on the journey. So it's written, the road was boring. In Keeping Quiet, the poet Pablo Neruda, he talks about cold sea. Cold sea actually means here emotionless people, emotionless world. In A Thing of Beauty, the poet talks about gloomy days. Actually, the days are not gloomy, not sad, people are sad. Consonance. This literary device deals with the repetition of vowel sounds within words that are close together. For example, the rain in Spain stays mainly in the plain. Here, the repetition of in sound. How now, brown cow. Repetition of the O sound. We can get many such examples in My Mother at 66, just like to Cochin last Friday morning. Here again vowel sounds, open mouthed, doze, and many more examples are there. When we find contrast between what is expected and what actually occurs, then it is called irony. For example, the fire station caught fire. Here we find a contrast between what is expected from a fire station and what is actually occurring here. The character in the story named Lucky was very unlucky. Again, a contrast between what is expected and what actually occurs. In Lost Spring, we find Sahib as Lord of the Universe, but he doesn't have a decent house to live in. In Aunt Jennifer's Tigers, she is very much terrified, whereas the tigers, which are her creation, they go on prancing fearlessly. Repetition of a word or phrase at the beginning of successive clauses or sentences is called anaphora. For example, in Martin Luther King Jr.'s speech, we find the repetition of the phrase, I have a dream. He says, I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up. I have a dream that one day we'll be judged not by the color of our skin. I have a dream that one day we'll be free. We find such example in Pablo Neruda's Keeping Quiet when he talks about let's not speak in any language. Let's stop for 1 second. One, it's a play on words that exploits multiple meanings or sounds of words. It creates humor and cleverness. For example, why was the math book sad? Because it had too many problems. I am reading a book on anti gravity. It's impossible to put down. In Aunt Jennifer's Tigers, we read about still ringed, as the wedding band, a symbol of oppression, would be on her finger, yet when she dies, even. In Keeping Quiet, Pablo Neruda, when he talks about arms, he plays with words. He talks about arms and ammunition, as well as he talks about working on machinery with arms. Hyperbole. It's an exaggeration or overstatement which is used to emphasize or to make poetry or writing piece effective. For example, I am so hungry I could eat a whole elephant. Here we are exaggerating hunger. This backpack weighs a ton. Here the weight is being exaggerated. I have told you a million times means many, many times. In Lost Spring, Anise Jung talks about rag pickers. She says they try to scrounge gold in garbage dumps. Here, gold means something valuable. In Deep Water, the poet talks about bottomless water, means water all around. Anecdoche is a figure of speech in which a part of something represents the whole, or just the opposite, just the vice versa. For example, I got a new set of wheels. Here, wheels are being used to refer to a car. The White House announced a new policy today. Here, we are using White House to refer to the administration of the government. As in We Too Are Human Beings, Bama talks about her studies that she tried very hard with all her breath and being means she put her heart and soul completely in her studies. Thanks for watching. Kindly like, share, and subscribe.